Hello, I'm Father Chris Metropoulos with This Week in Orthodoxy, the world's only online video newscast focused on the events in the life of the Orthodox Church. Here are the headlines shaping the Orthodox community this week. 50 years after Bloody Sunday, Archbishop Demetrius and national leaders converge on Selma, Alabama. The Russian Orthodox Church comes to the aid of civilians in war-torn Ukraine, and in the face of civil war, thousands of Sudanese refugees tried to make a new life in Ethiopia. First, it was on March 8, 1965, that some 500 to 600 civil rights leaders, protesters, and religious leaders met in Selma, Alabama, to embark on a 50-mile walk to Montgomery. The march, led by Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., was designed to demand state officials to remove legal obstacles designed to prevent African Americans from voting. This past Sunday marked the 50th anniversary of the first disastrous march, known as Bloody Sunday. Archbishop Demetrius, primate of the Greek Orthodox Church in the Americas, along with President Barack Obama, former President George W. Bush, and civil rights leaders past and present, met in Selma for the commemoration. Together, a group of nearly 1,000 made the march through downtown Selma and across the famous Edmund Pettus Bridge. They concluded the commemoration with a service at Brown Chapel African Methodist Episcopal Church. March 8th is known as Bloody Sunday because the first attempt to march to Montgomery, Alabama, some 50 miles away, was met with police batons, tear gas, police dogs. For the first time, a national television audience saw the violence committed against a group of peaceful demonstrators and was responsible for helping to turn the tide of public sentiment in favor of the 1965 Civil Rights Act, which finally removed legal barriers that were set up to deny African Americans the right to vote. 7 days later, a second and peaceful march took place. Greek Orthodox Archbishop Yakovos, drawing on his own experiences as a Greek living under Turkish rule, joined Dr. King on that famous walk. After the American Civil War, the 15th Amendment was ratified in 1870, granting all Americans, regardless of race, the right to vote. However, individual states, particularly the former rebel states, enacted a series of stringent laws that effectively denied black populations this right. Literacy laws, poll taxes, property ownership requirements, and moral character testaments all became legally sanctioned barriers that essentially created second-class citizens. The Voting Rights Act of 1965 was first introduced in the Senate 1 week after Bloody Sunday, and when passed, created prohibitions against racially motivated discrimination of voting. Oftentimes, this event is recognized by the Greek Orthodox community because of Archbishop Yakovos' participation. However, it should also be commemorated for the Orthodox Church's position. The Orthodox Church takes a firm stand against racial discrimination, believing it to be in direct contradiction with the gospel, which emphasizes a oneness and unity among all people. This position was first voiced by the spiritual leaders during the 1970 Clergy Lady Congress in New York City. Russia and Ukraine may be divided over geopolitics, but the Orthodox Church of Russia has come to the aid of Ukrainian civilians affected the ongoing war. With the blessing of Patriarch Kirill, nearly 59 million rubles, the equivalent of just over $975,000 US has been raised. The fundraising and disbursements are being handled by the Synodical Department for Church Charity and Social Ministry in Moscow, and reports are made public through the Synodical website, diakonia.ru. Previous fundraising efforts netted $1.6 million US and were used to supply Ukrainians with food, clothing, health services, and rental support. The Russian Orthodox Church in Moscow has received over 17,953 applications for assistance and has set up a telephone line for refugees who seek aid. Those seeking to provide financial assistance should visit the website here. Russia and Ukraine have been engaged in bitter and violent dispute over the Crimea region, a primarily ethnic Russian region in Ukraine. In February of last year, unmarked Russian soldiers invaded Crimea. The invasion was followed by an annexation vote. Finally, in Ethiopia, an estimated 196,000 Sudanese refugees have escaped the bloodshed of civil war. Nearly 129,360 of those refugees are children and have spent months living out in the open fields and have been exposed to the scorching sun torrential rains, and flooding. Stagnant water has created cesspools of cholera, malaria, and other diseases. With compromised immune systems due to harsh living conditions and famine, the children are at risk. The IOCC, in cooperation with the Ethiopian Orthodox Church and Interchurch Aid Commission, has carried out relief efforts to provide comfort to those refugees. Currently, 720 families are being serviced by newly constructed sanitary facilities, and latrines have been constructed as well. Similar facilities are currently in the works and are expected to service nearly 300 more families. Some 4,000 additional refugees have been received and been provided soap, water storage cans, and blankets. The IOCC is asking for continued support in making efforts like these possible. To make a gift, please visit their website, iocc.org, or you can call 1-877-803-IOCC. And news from OCN. Celebrating our 20th anniversary, we've come a long way from producing a one-hour radio program, and you can be a part of our growth. Last year, OCN experienced a 2,500% growth with millions of people being reached worldwide. Join us this year as we expand our reach to even more people. During this Lenten season, our Paschal Appeal guarantees your contributions go directly to mission, not to overhead. For just 10 cents a day, you can comfort, inspire, and inform people all over the world. Visit our website at myocn.net to see how you can be a part of the OCN 10 cent movement. That brings another edition of This Week in Orthodoxy to a close. For everyone here in our studios, I'm Father Chris Mitropoulos. Let's go forth in peace.